Podcasting was just basically like we talked to a lot of companies that were making video, and video, as you know, like it can be hard until you figure it out. And then it's like not hard, and then it can be very easy. And I think one of the recognitions that we've had is like what our audiences want has changed. You know, it used to be that we kind of like took the content that was sitting there waiting for us, but we didn't always expect to be able to engage in different ways. And now I think like, you know, if you go to the New York Times, for example, you can read, you can look at the interactive graphics, you can listen to the podcast version, you can watch, and you get to pick. And I think we're switching to a world where the audience is in control. And so they can decide, do they like to watch or listen or read or skim, or what is the way that you should communicate with them. And so podcasting was pretty natural fit for us, because if you're making a lot of content, I would guess that there's a percentage of your audience that is like would prefer to listen while they're working out, while they're commuting once things are normal, as that's starting to happen again, while they're on long road trips, what have you. And like life and work has been intermixed. So it made a lot of sense to us to add podcasting. We realized we were investing a lot in it. It didn't mean we weren't going to invest in video. It meant that like we were going to do those two alongside. And then we talked to a lot of companies where the people who were responsible for the podcast are the same people who were responsible for the video. And so it's simply like we can give leverage to our customers. We can bring the same marketing tools we built for video to podcasting. And so that's kind of why it made a good fit to get in there.